Why did I stay with my shitty ex? Am I in a toxic relationship? How am I going to move on and find love? We're your hosts, Izzy
and Meredith,
and welcome to ExFacts, Relationships and Breakups. Relationships are confusing. When they end, we're left picking up the pieces and wondering what went wrong. So, each episode on ExFacts, we'll hear stories from real people sharing their experiences in relationships. We'll also hear from experts to help us uncover the deeper meaning behind our actions and emotions. At the end of every episode, we'll answer a listener's question. No topic is off limits, so ask us anything you want to know. From conflict and healing to dating and love, ExFacts will take you on a mind-blowing journey to explore all aspects of our amazing, imperfect, frustrating relationships. Hi everyone, welcome back to ExFacts, Relationships and Breakups. Today we're going to be talking to my friend Bruna. I've known her for, how long has it been, Bruna?
Oh my God, maybe 7 years, Izzy.
I know, it's been a while.
Right?
Substantial.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so Bruna, you want to tell us a little bit? I remember when we first met, you were dating Mateus, who Carl was friends with at the time. So how you wanted to talk about how you guys got together and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think that, Matt was 8 years older than me. So when he originally got with me, it was like I was just his friend. I think it started off really toxic from the start. If I go to talk about how it started, it should have been immediate red flags. Because he was my boyfriend, but he wouldn't tell anyone that I was his girlfriend. Because of the age difference. So the automatic age difference made it, I guess, embarrassing to him because he was with a girl so much younger than him. But it got to a point where I think is where you're trying to lead with this question is where, he was super abusive. And if I go to look back at the relationship, there's not really too many good stories I can tell you about, because it started off like that. I could never post him. He never posted me, You guys were the only group of friends that we really kind of were able to be ourselves, but you knew I had to lie about my age, so so even then, Izzy, I don't know. I think I come up with a story about my job at the time, something. I think I had to come up with whole, because I needed to be up to a certain scale, to fit his lifestyle, I guess. But again, I was 17, 18, so.
In what ways was he abusive, if you don't mind me asking?
He was physically abusive and verbally abusive. Verbally, everyday thing, but abusive, when he would have alcohol all of the time, he was abusive. Izzy saw his abusive side pretty.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't think it was, but I think it was more of his mom didn't know, but it was a history in his family. Unfortunately, his dad was the exact same way. So I think he was young and probably watched that and became that person. I don't know, but yeah, multiple occasions where he slammed my nose on the steering wheel and I had to lie to my family about it. Yeah. He would drag me down the stairs and I'd get the carpet
burn.
So and unfortunately my family was seeing all of those signs, but I kept lying. I was oh, I got drunk and I smacked my head. And my dad was really?
Yeah. How long were you together?
Well, like I said, in the beginning, we were never together. When I turned 18, he was a little bit more open about us being together. And I think it was a year. I think I lived with him. Well, it was on and off all the time because, Izzy went even to Florida when he had another girlfriend that he had probably for 3 months, 4 months or something. And then he came back to me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was a really toxic situation, and it was just, I felt like, you know, you were just going through a difficult time. And I think that's why I really wanted to have you on um because you're so pretty and you're so successful now and everything. And I just think it's a great thing for other people to hear about, that like people who get into abusive relationships aren't this like little fly in the corner, you know, they could be
Yeah.
someone you
It
look
can
up
happen
to.
to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's now that, now I just know he was a narcissist, like, yeah, that's just who he was. And I think nowadays people talk more about it. So you were able to learn and kind of understand, like, you know what, other people go through it. If they got out of it, you can get it. It's hard. I didn't like, I wasn't a strong person, like I was stuck in that situation. I kept myself in that situation, because you think, oh, that person's going to change or that person loves me. I'm the issue, and I think obviously I've been in therapy my whole life since then. So like I'm able to learn that like the issue wasn't me. The issue was someone that I was just unfortunately his punching bag, so I think the older you get, like you're able to see those signs in a man, I don't know. I think it's more out there when someone is abusive. Back then, I don't even think Instagram was a thing like that. Nowadays, it's all over Instagram, men who are abusive or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, women are okay with talking about it. Before, I think girls were so scared. I don't know. I think
there's a lot more like educational material that people are more willing to share.
Talk about it because I know he's not going to come like, okay, maybe he'll haunt me in my sleep, but barely. So it's a difference type thing, so I think like I'm more of like, you know what, that person was a bad person, and unfortunately your life showed you were a bad person. I couldn't keep holding myself stuck to that because like I need to be open and speak to people about it so other girls are aware that it happens. And if it's not them in the grave, it's you, unfortunately, because there are some women that do lose their life over that, so it's sad.
No, it's very true. I mean,
able to, pick my life up. Obviously, I have a tattoo of him. Like I suffered. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I didn't love him. No, I loved him. That's why I stayed. I suffered when he passed, so like not sitting here like I didn't cry. I did.
Yeah, of course.
To get
well, I think people who like keep abusive relationships intact often manipulate the other person into, like you said, thinking it's their fault and they're causing it. Like,
yeah.
And that's what allows them to keep doing it over and over again. They flip the script so that the other person just assumes it's something wrong with them. And they have like a unique ability to convince people of that. So, like you said, I think it's great that like now there's more of an open forum so that people realize that's what's happening and they don't just like internalize it and not talk about it and assume it's them instead of realizing it's like a tactic from the abusive person.
I mean, I have plenty of friends who also been in it, who I've witnessed go through it, so like a lot of girls go through it, you know. We just need to talk about it more so it's just known. And I think ExFacts is something that you literally look up.
Yeah.
If the person is abusive or not.
Was
the whole abusive part, it's being shown in an app. And it's like real reviews because, once you're in an abusive relationship and you witness that, you don't lie about that. You don't make that up because that's something that like traumatizes. Like it really traumatizes you. So, I think girls on there or the men, because there is women who are abusive as well, that are going to go on there and it's just going to share and it's going to be true. It's not, so.
Yeah, no, I agree because I feel like with it you can, see whether people have patterns, and that's so important because like because people tend to exhibit similar patterns over and over again. Like, I don't know, I've actually never talked to you about this. Did Matt have similar patterns? I mean, maybe you don't know, but with other girls he did,
did have, what was the girl's name? well, I don't want to say her name on here. This going on the internet actually,
Yeah.
but the girl that was before me and that was besides him at the funeral, he was abusive towards her, you know, and his mom got involved a lot of the time. And she actually lived in his mom's house at some point because of, you know, his anger mensch. But I mean, it all makes sense now when you see, unfortunately, what he passed away of, right? Because someone who uses certain things, right? You become an angry person. You black out and you're an angry person. So it makes sense. Like, you know, a lot of abusive men, they're not sober, or like the abuse not sober. They're on something. That is whatever it is. So like those things really influence the person as well. You know, so I think that because of his history with that, you know, it like made him that type of person. Because I think him, okay, like he was a good person. You know what I'm saying? He was like a fun person around.
Oh no, he was. And like that's the thing with people who are abusive. That people aren't black and white. They're totally gray, you know, and you know, Matt had good qualities. Obviously, you were with him for a long time, but he was not a good boyfriend, you know, and like that's what, you know, they brought up ExFacts. Like what ExFacts is trying to do is show you that kind of information, because a lot of people, like they, you know, if you go and Google someone, you know, what you get is like you can get their arrest record, but like a lot of people who are in abusive relationships, they don't show up on like an arrest record, because you know,
because
it doesn't work out.
It's the hardest thing ever, which is so fucked up. Is that women don't have no support over domestic violence whatsoever in the court system. Forget about it.
Yeah,
like it's
what was
super
your experience with that like?
Yeah, that's in the US, but outside of the US as well. Like women are beaten, women are raped, and the guy is like walking in the street, you know?
Yeah, I know. So so what happened with you? I mean, with you know, with the
in court that I like, because I was on antidepressants at the time. He used that against me in court. That made me hallucinate, and he basically made it seem like I was a psychopath, and that like I was making those things up, and that I was suicidal, and that's why I made those things up, because he didn't want to be with me anymore. And I didn't, you know, every time I took pictures of what he did to me, he would grab my phone and delete it. Like he would sleep with my phone next to him. Like he had full over my phone. He would respond to my parents, like,
Really?
you know,
no,
he would respond to, like, he had my phone. I had my social media, like when he passed, I had to like email Facebook my ID. Like, like my ex died and he changed the password. I don't even know the password, but I'm like, I want to get the pictures that are on there.
Yeah.
He leaked pictures off of my phone. I could never wear leggings. I could never, unless there was a sweater covering my butt.
It means you have a nice butt, at least. So he wouldn't be worried about it if he didn't.
Yeah, like I could not wear certain things. There was just a huge no.
Yeah.
So I think all of those signs.
Yeah, I mean,
so red flags like controlling.
Yeah, I think it's just
for sure.
No, I think a woman should be able to wear whatever the fuck she wants to wear. Oh, yeah. Honestly, my man now would never lay his hands on me. He doesn't raise his voice to me. You know, like I'm the one screaming if anything, and he would never tell me not to wear something. If anything, he's like, if that makes you feel good, wear it.
Yeah, rock those leggings, girl.
Do be you.
Yes.
Even if you're loud, be you. You know, and I think, you know, I think I was just such a young girl, and I was like being held from being who I wanted to be, you know, literally like, no, you need to be this person. Like I was forced to be like to grow quickly. Like when I went to get my license, right? He said that if I didn't get my license by the end of the week, he was going to break up with me.
What?
My parents are proof.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Obviously, I went. I got my license because I loved him. But
Yeah.
he taught me how to drive, and he's like, 1 week you gotta have your license. He's like, you can't be with me if you don't got a license.
Seriously? That's crazy.
So it's little things that like I look back now, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Like, but again, I was really young. Like,
Well,
No, you
that was-
were.
yeah, you didn't know that that was not like a healthy model of a relationship.
yeah,
So
no, but not that, like I thought, I don't know, I thought it was, I guess. But I was just basically his arm candy when I look at it now. Like, I was the bag.
Yeah.
You were just smart. You were
what do you think allowed you to go from that relationship to your current like healthy and happy relationship? Like what
well
was the journey?
insane.
I'm sure it
Like,
was a long and
really,
dusty road.
yeah. Because I mean, when you suffer something like that, the last thing you submit to is a man.
Mhm.
Like, that's the last thing you do. Your
Yeah.
mind after something like that is like, fuck you, fuck you.
Mhm.
Like, it's hard. And it's like, I can't say that I'm like the best in my relationship now because no, I think I actually lack a lot of things because of that relationship. Every therapy session, that's something that's always brought up. And like my therapist said, you were so young. Like
Yeah.
your brain was literally forming. So like even when you think you forgot, it's in your subconscious. And those things in your subconscious is triggering you in whatever situation now. So like
Mhm.
you literally need to face those things because or else if you have a certain interaction, someone responds a way, you're gonna automatically react.
Like a knee-jerk reaction because it's triggering the
Yeah,
past. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That makes total
Because like,
sense.
as much as you think like, oh, I'm over it because I can talk about it, you're like, there's those subconscious moments that you
Mhm.
automatically, you defend yourself. You're always in
Mhm.
defense
Mhm.
mode. Like I'm
Yeah.
always in defensive mode after that. Like,
Mhm.
no.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we need to learn that you can be defensive, but you need to know when to be defensive, and to who to be defensive to.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's something like about the whole like being young part. That's something that Meredith and I were talking about because both of us have, like when we were younger, we had dated older people too. I think it's a like not too uncommon thing to have happen. And so I think, and when you're so young, you're like really vulnerable and like you said, moldable. And I know my relationship when I was young wasn't the best. It wasn't anything like what you and Matt went through, but um it just, you don't know. I feel like you aren't secure enough in yourself to be like, no, I don't want that. Whereas
Yeah.
older, you're like, okay, being like, okay, no, like that's unacceptable. When you're younger, you're like just seeking approval all the time, because you haven't
Yes.
really figured out who you are. So you like are basing who you are based on other people's reaction of you, I feel like.
Yep.
Yeah. And Izzy, I bet like I think you and I probably both were, like mature for our age, and we both thought like I got this, like I'm young, but I'm in charge. And
Yeah.
but like you can't be at that age, even if
You
you
try
think
to
you
be.
are, you're not,
Yeah, try to be because
Yeah.
obviously I tried to be, in control of my situation before
Mhm.
that happened. I used to say I would never be that girl to allow
Yeah.
it. So we do say those things, but it just
It just
happens.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
totally.
retrospect, you would think
Because it doesn't
I
happen
thought
at
I was,
first.
yeah, like I thought I was mature for my age, but now looking back, I'm like, oh, I wasn't.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, I was a little asshole, but like I probably got in over my head at one point or another, thinking that I knew what I was doing, and it probably wasn't the best choice for me, but I didn't realize that at the time because I was headstrong.
Yeah.
I think probably a lot of young people think that.
yeah. That's why I'm like, no, I'm okay. I don't want a daughter right now.
Oh, samesies. Lock it up.
Yeah.
Oh, the world.
Yeah.
Yikes.
The world we live in,
I
unfortunately.
know. It's hard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to just, it's hard to like move on after a difficult relationship too. And it's just like
It is, but
time but you have to do it.
but that's why I'm also huge on therapy, and I think
Yeah.
people also make therapy really something more open as well because, you know, the people being abusive, right? Best believe they got some healing to do.
Yes,
Mhm.
agreed.
You know, like there's something that made them like that or that pushed.
Yeah.
Oh, like so. I think everyone, whatever side of the story you're on,
Mhm.
maybe
Get some help. I mean, it can't
oh, why.
and I know that in a lot of different cultures, like it's, therapy like
It's
for
taboo.
white women, is like very accepted. You know what I mean? But I think in different cultures, there's different levels of like accepted. Because I don't know, and I know you're Brazilian. Like, what is it like? Like,
So, I mean, I think people associate. I laugh
mhm.
because I'm pro therapy. Like I should have. I mean, my best friend's a therapist, and I think I should have went to school to be a therapist because I just love learning about it. Because
Yeah,
it's so crazy how much it plays a huge role in your life. But Brazilians just think that if you're in therapy, you're like say crazy, you know. But it's not.
Yeah.
You're aware of your problems and you're going to find a solution. Like you're facing them head on. So people who go to therapy are actually strong, you
Right.
know,
Stronger because they're
well,
dealing with it head on. Yeah.
because you're
It's crazy how that's still like taboo
yeah,
these days. Like, didn't The Sopranos fix that? Like, what are we still doing? Like,
maybe
can't
it's
we all
super
just
Italian.
accept that
Yeah,
therapy is a good thing? Come
thank
on,
you.
people.
You know, so like Brazilians aren't really, you know, they just think of like, oh yeah, no, I'm not crazy. I don't need to go.
Mhm.
That's actually a reason you should go.
exactly.
Because if you're not crazy, you're definitely crazy.
Yeah, and you might be about to be great. Like if you don't get help, you can get
We're all crazy.
exactly. We're
Yeah.
all people.
We all do different things, you know, like everyone's journey is not an easy journey. So like you think you're good, but you're not.
Oh yeah,
It
definitely.
can't hurt. I mean, at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it can't hurt.
At least do
exactly.
self check-ins. Just
Yeah.
do check. You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Or this, and that. I'm good.
What was your experience like finding a therapist? Because I've, over the
Hard.
years, probably been to like 10 different therapists, and some of them are awful. Some of them I thought were good, but then I found someone who was even better. Like, I feel like the important thing about therapy and why a lot of people get discouraged is because they go to one person and they don't click, and then they're like, this isn't for me. Right?
Yeah, that's
How was that for you?
For me, I actually just started a new therapist. But I don't think that's a reason to stop, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I mean, like I said, my best friend, she's about to get her doctorate's degree in that field. And
Yeah.
she can't treat me because we've been best friends for over 10 years.
Right.
Like, Bruna, I love you. I'll do it for free out of love. Like, you know, legally I can't treat you. But
Mhm.
she said that you need to try to just find one, keep adjusting because you will find that person that like
Mhm.
your deepest secrets, you'll feel comfortable. Like
Mhm.
you will find that person, you know, you will find that therapist. So it doesn't come easy because you also go through different phases of your life. Because I can say
Mhm.
my old therapists, none of them were bad. I actually
Right.
had them for at least a year because I normally try it out, you know, because
Mhm.
you need to slowly feel out the person as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, because
Go
it's
tell
all about like trust,
yeah,
and so and
Mhm.
it's you have to like wait a while till you see if you can trust that person. You're not just
Yeah.
going and like trust them right off the bat. But like sometimes
Mhm.
it's like it's not a good fit, or sometimes it is, or sometimes you move. I know Bruna, you've
yeah,
moved a lot, so that obviously
yeah,
affected
Mhm.
yeah.
your
And it's because like you would think, for example, I had a therapist when I was dating Matt, right? After I gave birth to my son, I tried this other therapist out for a year. I didn't really like her. I even went back to that same therapist I had. And turns out she was no longer a fit for me.
really,
So
yeah.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, because you know, I've evolved and
Mhm.
she's still on the religious side,
Mhm.
right? Which is no offense to no one's religious. I'm
Yeah.
religious. I have my own, you know, but I
But
think
it
that
didn't like jive with
Yeah,
what you
even there,
needed.
I think that way. Shouldn't be in therapy, right? Therapy should be something someone expresses everything and you accept them, right? Unless it's something that's harming, obviously, then but I think you kind of feel them out and you don't judge, right? And I think the fact that, I like cannabis, she was like, so
I know. I've experienced a lot of that with therapists, like judgment, and it's like your job is to let me be raw and open and honest. Yeah, like, do you ever find yourself, my friend and I talk about this all the time, like you're paying a therapist to help you, but you like kind of like white lie a little bit just because it's like awkward, and then you go home and you're like, why I'm paying for this? Like, why am I lying to my own therapist?
That when you like my best friend, she's a therapist. She literally says it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Like, your therapy session should not be like that. Like I have to do that sometimes too.
Yeah.
Because I always think like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know.
I'm like, that doesn't sound great when I say it out loud.
And like I'm here to be understood. Not, like so, but when you find the right therapist, I think that, but I think no matter what, what I've learned from each therapist that I've been through is that at least every single one of them was able to find one trauma different.
Oh, wow.
Each trauma that I needed to be healed on that I never realized. So I do think that, like even when you think, oh, I'm just wasting time, you're not.
Yeah.
You're really discovering different areas, different parts of your life. So
and I think you're also learning like what your communication style is. Like even if you're like sifting through therapists and it's a painful process, like it helps you learn who you trust and why, and who you have an easy time talking to.
I think every time I go to therapy, I learn how to like explain things better about how I feel, right? So I don't know, I like that. It just teaches me to be a stronger person on my own. Hold my grounds no matter what. That's what therapy really like therapy is my self-care moment. Like I'm gonna go there and learn how to be strong. That's how I think of it.
Yeah, totally.
I haven't told you this, Bruna, but every week to wrap up the show, what I'm trying to do is answer a listener's question. And this is our last week of not actually having listeners.
Hopefully.
Because we're going to release the first episode next week. But in lieu of that, I asked some people in my Facebook group for some questions. And one thing that people are kind of interested is about age differences. And I know we've been talking about this on the show, so I thought it'd be a good time to ask this question. So do you think that age difference is like inherently a problem, or do you think, it can be in some circumstances?
I think age is just a number because I've had partners with different age gaps, right? And if you're immature, you're immature.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So like if you're a bad person, you're a bad person no matter the age. So I think that it really just goes about the person and like what they've been through in life and like, it's just the person and their life. I guess it's really what will give them that age, right?
I don't think it's a non-starter, but I agree with you. Like overarchingly, I think like it's the people, the personality. If you mesh, you mesh. But age does come with obstacles, right? Like if someone's really young, chances are they haven't like lived their life. They're gonna want to be more independent. They're not gonna want to like stay in every night and like cook dinner. Or vice versa, like someone, it does come with a set of.
Yeah, I get 1,000% what you're saying because I have friends who got married young, right? In their teens. And now they're living their best life.
Yeah.
My best life, right?
Yeah. And it's not to say that you can't overcome those obstacles. It just is a fact that they're present when there's.
Because I'm a mom, right?
Well, and that's another thing. Like kids are like similar to age. Like it's just something you have to be aware of because it does affect like the trajectory of the relationship.
Everything.
Yeah.
Having having a child is the biggest blessing ever. Like, I love my son. That's my Prince Charming for life. Like, you know, but I don't want no more kids. You know,
but that's it.
yeah. There's a lot, like, you know, kids change your life 1,000%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, you think anything in life changes your mindset? Oh, have a kid.
Anyways, well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. You can catch a new episode of ExFacts next week. Hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any of the action. We want to hear from you, so leave us a comment or review. Until next time, bye.